Yo guys, what's good? It's your boy Andre. I am filming my first ever Prem Talk. In here I'm going to discuss weekly results in the Premier League, my opinions on the Premier League's teams, how they're doing so far, and just chit chat about what you want if you ever leave anything in the comments. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The first team I'm going to talk about is Arsenal. So as you probably can tell, I am an Arsenal fan myself. So I promise I will try not to be biased at all. In fact, I think I have been pretty harsh on my team. So let's get into it. I feel like Arsenal has got two very, very distinct strengths and two very distinct weaknesses. So without further ado, the strengths, I feel like keeping hold of Alexis Sanchez was very, very important. I personally wanted to keep him, but I wouldn't have been angry at him whatsoever if he would have chosen to leave. I mean, he's a great player. I feel like he's one of the best in the world, and at Arsenal he just wasn't getting that service. He wasn't getting the titles he wanted. He's a very passionate player and he needs titles, but we kept him, so I'm very happy about that. I think he'll have a great season. I don't think he'll be half-hearted. I think he will stay 100% to Arsenal. If he signs for next year. If he doesn't, then well, I know he will do his best this year for us. Also, I feel like Sayed Kolasinac has become a very, very quick fan favourite. I personally love him. He's a horse. He works hard. He's just amazing. Wenger loves him. As I said, he's a horse. So he's just really, really strong, and he just does what needs to be done. So I'm very happy we got him. As for our weaknesses, I personally feel like our defence is a bit inconsistent. Much like another team I'll talk about later. But for now, I'll just keep it as Arsenal's defence is very inconsistent. And I have a personal dislike of Mustafi. Don't get me wrong, he's like a great guy. He's a German international. He's strong, but I just don't feel like he's an Arsenal player. I don't think he can pass the ball proper, and I just don't. I think he's too inconsistent. I just don't know. I just don't personally like him. There's loads of people who do like him, but I just personally don't. So now I'm going to move on to Bournemouth. Bournemouth has got, I feel like, a lot of potential with Eddie Howe in there. Eddie Howe is a great manager. I think he's a great young manager. He's going to go up to a higher club very soon, because he's done a great job. They haven't started so strong this year yet, but I feel like with Jermaine Defoe and Josh King up front, they will cause problems for the big teams. But on that note, I think their downfall, their weakness this year is going to be the big game pressure. They were leading 1-0 against Manchester City. They were giving them a tough time, and in the last minute of the game, they lost in the end 2-1. So I feel like that last bit of pressure they can't withstand so far. Maybe they will in the future. Okay, on to Brighton. So Brighton is also a bit close to my heart because my dad is from Brighton. I feel like they will struggle this year, if I'm honest. They will struggle, but they have got a pretty good defence with the likes of Lewis Dunk. I feel like Lewis Dunk is a great young player. I feel like he'll have a good season. Funny fact, my dad actually played football for Brighton Boys with Lewis Dunk's dad. So yeah, that could have been my way in, but you know, oh well. On the other hand, the downfall of Brighton, I feel like, will be the striking power. I don't personally feel like Thomas Hemed is the person to keep Brighton out of the relegation zone. He's not a bad player. He was a great player in the Championship, but this year I don't think he's going to be enough. However, we have signed a player, Pascal Gross, who is looking pretty good. He's got 2 goals and 2 assists so far this season. So, you know, he might bring some life to the Brighton boys. But we will see at the end of the season how we do. I don't personally feel like we'll stay up, but I will be very, very happy. Okay, so the next team, Burnley. I feel like Burnley is a strong team. They've surprised a lot of people last year. I think that's mainly due to Tom Heaton, who is a great goalkeeper. I'm so happy he's in the England squad. It shows that England don't just pick from the high clubs. They don't mind where you come from. Burnley, yeah, even though it's not considered a high club, if you're a good enough player, you're still getting an England squad. So I'm very happy about Tom Heaton being in there. I think he's a great goalkeeper. Also, I feel like Sean Dyche is a great manager. I don't know if many people give him credit. I personally would. He's great with his physical interactions with the players. Burnley's a strong team. Also, he's great with his strikers. So far this season, Vokes and Wood have scored 2 goals each. They beat Chelsea on the opening day. I feel like he's a great manager. On the other hand, Burnley's weakness could be the fact that in midfield they often get overrun. I know they're a smaller team and this is expectable, but I just don't know. I feel like they could enforce it somehow in there. They lost Joey Barton, Yeah, I know he's a bit of a dirty player, but he did enforce that midfield. So hopefully, in the future, if they're still in the Premier League, which I really think they will be, they will enforce the midfield and they will get even better.
Okay, now on to Chelsea.
I personally think Chelsea is going to have a good season. I don't think they're quite win the league, but they have a good season. They've got two very good Spanish players in
Morata and
Alonso. Morata's got 3 goals this season so far. For a striker, yeah, maybe he could have more. I mean, he's not the top scorer, but I feel like he'll score a fair few goals this year. Also, Alonso as a left back, he's already got 2 goals this season. You know, that ain't bad. I'd take that for an Arsenal player. Then again, Kolasinac has got 2 goals, so he's kind of a less midfielder. But you know, I really rate Alonso. On the other hand, I feel like Bakayoko was a risky buy. I know everyone loves him. He's young. He's got loads of potential. He's the same as Kolasinac. He's a workhorse. But I just think he's too goofy. He's too inconsistent. I watched him play against Spain. I think it was for France, and he gave a ball away 3 times. One of them resulted in a goal. And I just don't think he's that amazing. Not for 40 million anyway. But I cannot deny he has got potential. So I feel like it might have been a good buy. Also, the whole drama with Costa refusing to come to training, staying in Brazil, wanting to force a move to Atletico Madrid, but they can't take him until January because of their transfer ban. It's just a bit silly, really, and I feel like that is affecting the players. That probably is why they weren't in the right mindset for the Burnley game. However, they are still a very strong team with a lot of Kante and Willian. They can achieve anything they want, really. I'm surprised they haven't really played Hazard, considering he played for Belgium, but they didn't play for Chelsea until 2 weeks later. But Conte is a great manager, he knows what he's doing, so I can see them finishing.
Okay, so moving on to Crystal
Palace. Now, Palace is a very, very picky subject because you can obviously say that they haven't scored any goals this season yet. It's been 5 games, they've conceded 8, scored none. But, fun fact, they've actually had 71 shots, which is one of the most in the Premier League, and they've scored no goals. So that tells me, I don't know if it was De Boer's fault or now Ross Hudson's come in and he hasn't scored a goal yet. They lost 1-0 last week. I don't know if it's the striker's fault or the managers or the board, but something's not going right up there. And they got a very strong player in Benteke and he just can't score. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen there.
Now moving on to Everton.
I think Everton has got a lot of potential this year. I feel like they're finishing the same sort of areas last year, around that 7th, 8th place. However, I do really, really like the look of Pickford. Pickford is a great young keeper. I think he's worth every penny they spent on him. He will become absolutely great. He's already good. He will become absolutely great. Also, I really like the signing of Sigurdsson. They did splash the cash for him. I don't know if he's worth that anymore, but at the same time, if Arsenal came in for him, I would gladly take him, no matter what the cost. So I think Everton have done a great bit of business there. However, they are lacking confidence. They started off the season okay, but they've just been declining. Lost 3-0 to Atalanta. They lost 4-0 to United this week. I think they're lacking confidence. But I feel like Koeman will bring it back into them. I think he's a great manager. He did great things at Southampton, and I feel like he'll replicate that at Everton.
Okay, so now we've been to
new boys. Huddersfield. Huddersfield have had a really, really great striker this season. They've scored goals, they've defended well, they've got a great player in Mui, absolutely great. I cannot believe that Manchester City bought Sydney FC for £8 million and then sold Mui for 10 million. I mean, they made profit on him, and he's an absolutely amazing player, and they've got a whole club to fall back on. So Man City, that's a great bit of business. Huddersfield also, great bit of business. He's an absolutely great player, and I feel like the one big reason apart from Murray that they've done so well this season is purely because they have got no expectations. They've went out all guns blazing. They want to see what the Premier League's like, and they've got onto a very, very strong start. However, on the other hand, I feel like their wingers, Van der Parra and Ince, they could be a little bit better in support of Mounier, who is, I feel like is a great striker. And if they do step up their game and get in those crosses and assists, I feel like they will carry on with good form and probably end up with a mid-table finish. I really feel like they can do it.
Okay, so Leicester.
Leicester's a really, really hard team to analyse because they're not that effective in defence. They're not that effective in offence. I think they're a solid mid-table team. Vardy's got 4 goals this season, which is fair enough. He's second top goal scorer. Well, technically third, I think. But I don't know. Their defence is a bit questionable. I mean, they've signed Harry Maguire. I think it's a great signing for Leicester. They've still got Wes Morgan. They've got Kasper Schmeichel, great keeper. But I don't know. They seem to leak goals. I don't know why when they've got a decent back four and a keeper. But lucky enough, Vardy is keeping him up there. I think Mahrez will pop up in the season in key times. Or Brighton's another great player. I feel like they'll do okay. Mid-table finish. Okay, moving on to Liverpool. Liverpool, I think, has got the best attack in the league. Yeah, you can argue you've got Rashford, Lukaku, and Mkhitaryan, or Gabriel Jesus, Aguero, De Bruyne, Silva, all those players. Yeah, they are strong attacks, but I feel like Salah, Firmino, Mane, and Coutinho, when Klopp decides to play him, is going to be an absolute monster of an attack. I can't see past another team being better than that. Salah and Mane have got 3 goals each. Already, Mane's got a red card and he's still got 3 goals. So, you know, I feel like they're very, very strong attackively. And however, on the other hand, defensively they are so inconsistent. One game, Lovren can have an absolute blinder, and then the next he can let ball slip under his feet, and then Liverpool go 1-0 down to Sevilla. I mean, they're just so inconsistent. However, I think Klopp knows that his defense is a bit off. So as long as he tries to outscore the opposition, I can see Liverpool finishing really high this year because of the pure quality.
Okay, so moving on to Manchester City.
Okay, so I'll let it slip. The 2 Manchester clubs, I think, are going to finish in top 2 places. They've just got so much quality. I mean, Aguero's top scorer with 5 goals. Gabriel Jesus is second with 4 goals. David Silva's got 4 assists. De Bruyne's got 3 assists. They've just got so much team quality. It's unbelievable. And I think Pep Guardiola is going to have a breakthrough season this year. It didn't go all too well for him last year, but I feel like this year's going to be strong. I'll tell you at the end of the video who I think is going to finish first and second out of the 2 teams. But I feel like the Manchester teams will dominate. The only bad thing I can say about Manchester City is that I feel like they can underestimate the opposition slightly, like what happened with Bournemouth. Don't get me wrong, they came back and they were strong. They won the game in the end due to the immense pressure they piled on Bournemouth. However, they did go 1-0 down. Yeah, it was a great goal, but they were letting Bournemouth come into the game, and they will do it again. However, I think just the immense quality up front will outpower most teams.
And now to the opposite end of
Manchester United. I think they're going to have a great season. They look so strong. Lukaku, 5 goals already. Mkhitaryan, 5 assists. I mean, they just look amazing. Rashford, he is an amazing player. I think, even though I'm an Arsenal fan, I think he's my favourite Premier League player right now. Rashford, every time I watch him, it's like bailing back at the playground and just running through players for fun. You know, he didn't care if he got subbed off or whatever. He just wants to run with the ball. He wants to take the paper on, and he's so fast, so skillful. I just love the way he plays. Pogba as well. I think he's going to have a great season. He already is having a great season. I feel like he'll run most midfields in most games. Yeah, I just feel like they've got so much quality. Mourinho, we all know, second year, he does loads of things. He won it with Chelsea in his second year. You know, he's got Premier League experience. I feel like they will be one of the top 2 teams. They just look so strong, and I can't see many people beating them.
Okay, so
now up to the north, Newcastle. Newcastle are a weird team. They at the first game of the season, they looked so weak, and I thought, oh my god, they're going to go back down again. That's just not good enough. However, they are doing quite well now this year. I mean, Matt Ritchie is having a great season. He's had 4 assists this year. Atsu, I think, looks great. No one can really handle his pace. Not the best end product, but he has got pace, no doubt about it, and skill. So I feel like they will do okay. Mid-table finish maybe for Newcastle. As I said, they started out a bit weak, but they just look strong. I can't say they look weak anymore. And a mid-table finish.
Okay, so Southampton.
Southampton's one of those teams, just like Leicester. You can't say that much good and that much bad about them. They've got a great youth system. They bring out players every single year. They brought out Matt Target, Josh Sims. They brought Luke Shaw out. They brought Gareth Bale out. They brought Chamberlain. They've got a great youth system, and I feel like that probably will play a big part at the end of the year, just like last year with Josh Sims. However, the drama with Van Dijk, I feel like has affected the team. Not as bad as probably Costa affecting Chelsea. However, I do feel like it has had an impact on the overall team performance. But saying that, they are still doing okay this year. They've had 2,515 passes, which is the sixth highest in the Premier League. So it shows that they're playing a good style of football. They're not just doing the over-the-top route one balls. They're playing good passing football, which is always good in the Premier League. They are physical. They've got Romeo in there who likes to tackle. I feel like they'll do all right this year. Maybe not the strongest team in the league, but they'll do all right.
Stoke City.
Okay, what can we say about Stoke? It's basically the same every single year. When you go away to Stoke, it's a hard fixture. You're going to get tackled hard. It's just not a nice place to go, and Stoke usually come out with a point or a win. Just like they did against Arsenal, 1-0 win with Pesse's goal. I think Pesse's going to be a great player for them this year. So will Choupo-Moting. They've done good business there, to be fair to them. They brought in Wimmer as well to solidify their defence, which is also a good bit of business. Butland, once again, just like Tom Heaton, absolutely, I love the guy. He's a great keeper. Once again shows that England do select from the lower clubs, not just the high clubs like Arsenal, United, City, stuff like that. I think Butland's a great keeper. He's OP on FIFA, I know that, but in life he's just great.
Mark Hughes.
We'll have a good season with them. They'll finish around mid-table. Strong team, just like every single year. They've had 91 tackles so far this year. That's the third most in the Premier League. You'd expect that the way they go in. Yeah, hard physical team. They'll do well.
Okay, moving on to Swansea.
Swansea, I feel like they're just losing Sigurdsson's a big thing for them. I mean, they've had 24 saves so far by Fabianski. That's the most in the league. So their defence needs a lot of help, if I'm honest. They need a lot of help in defence. And they've only had 30 shots in the whole of the league. That's the worst team for shots. That shows how much of a loss Sigurdsson was. He went from being one of the top assisters in the Premier League last season to now we've gone to Everton, and Swansea evidently missed so much they've even dropped to the lowest shot-taking team in the Premier League, 30 shots. I do think Sanchez was a good loaning. He will do well this year. I do personally like him. He's got loads of potential. Also bringing in Boney was a good business. He played well for them before. Went to Manchester City, didn't hit the ground running at all, and went out a few rounds ago. But now he's back. I feel like he will do okay. He's been here before. They fans love him. So we will see how.
Okay, now to counter that,
Tottenham Hotspur. I don't really like them, obvious reasons, but I cannot deny how good their English core is. Dele Alli, Harry Kane. Who else have we got in there?
I mean, we've got Eric Dyer.
They just got a sort of strong English core, and many people love that about them. They've also got very strong foreign players. Lloris, great goalkeeper. Alderweireld and Vertonghen, absolutely great defenders. I think Vertonghen's got the most passes in the whole of the Premier League, including strikers, midfielders, defenders, even keepers. He's got 450 passes, I think. Absolutely, he can knock a ball anywhere. Eriksson, I think Eriksson is probably, after De Bruyne, or tied with De Bruyne, the best midfielder, or attacking midfielder in the league. I think he can create magic, I really do. And I hate to say that as an Arsenal fan, but it's the truth, I feel like. Kane, as you know, top scorer in the last 2 seasons. I think he'll do it again. They brought in Llorente. I don't really rate Llorente, but Pochettino likes him, so we'll see how that goes on. Here's a bit of addition to Janssen, who hasn't really had the best of time at Spurs yet, but we'll see what the arrival of Llorente does for that. Also, if I'm right, they have 105 shots, which is the most in the Premier League. So, complete opposite of Swansea, who's only had 30. Spurs have really piled on pressure, mainly due to Eriksson, Dele Alli. Dembele is a great midfielder, pushing from the back all the way up to the front, strong physical player. However, on the other hand, I would say, even though they have the most shots in the league, I don't feel they have like out-and-out wingers. I know Heung-min Son and Sissoko technically play there, but I really think Heung-min Son likes to go into the striker behind Harry Kane, supporting Harry Kane. So I don't really see him as a winger, but you could argue he is. Sissoko, yep, he is technically a winger through and through. He loves running down the wing, but I just don't know. Do any of you really think Sissoko was a worthy buy of Spurs? I think it was a panic deadline day buy by Spurs last year because they haven't spent any money. This year they've gone out and spent money. Yeah, maybe it was on deadline day, but I mean the addition of Sanchez, Llorente, they are good buys. I really do think so. And I think Spurs will have a very tough season. And I hate to say it, they will probably finish above Arsenal. But nothing would make me more proud if we finish above Spurs once again. Just like House.
Okay, so now moving on to the
Probably the most bang average team there is in the league, and that's Watford. I mean, I was looking through all the stats, so I was thinking in my head what are Watford good at, and they are in the middle of everything. They've literally in and around the number 10, 11, 12 position for shots, passes, touches, everything like that. They're just a bang average team. I really feel like the addition of Chalobah, even though he's a young player, he's got a load of potential. I think he's already very different in the Watford midfield. However, they are leaking goals. They got hammered 6-0 this weekend by City. So obviously, they have their ups and downs. Every game is a different game with them. But I feel like they are a bang average team, mid-table finish. I can't say much more about. Okay, now on to my most local team, which will be West Brom. That's actually where my dad works. West Brom, as everything we hear, they're up there in the middle. You know, they're a bang average team. However, it's hard to see how. I think it's just because of Tony Pulis. He's a great manager. I can't see much of a reason for them being so successful. They haven't got any standout players. They brought in Kuchowiak, which is a steal, but that's probably their best player. So I can't see how. I mean, they've had 1,535 passes. That might seem like a lot, but that's last in the Premier League. They have the least amount of passes. I usually, in my head, straight away, I think Stoke would have it back lately with their route myself football. But West Brom, they aren't that much different, to be fair. They like the bigger balls up to Rondon and David Rodriguez and all that. So I can see how they've got the least passes, and I think they've also got one of the least amount of tackles as well, which is weird considering how they're supposed to be a weak team. But yeah, I feel like they finish close to the bottom, but I don't think they get relegated. I think Pulis is too good of a manager to ever get relegated, or with that team, like with West Brom anyway. So yeah.
Alright then, last but not least,
West Ham. I personally like West Ham. I mean, I'll give you a little secret. When I got FIFA 17 last year, I made a career mode with West Ham instead of Arsenal, just because I feel like West Ham's a solid team where anyone can get in, really. It doesn't matter how good you are, how bad you are, you can get in. Bilic will give you a chance, just like he did with Declan Rice. May have backfired a little bit in the first game of the season, but I feel like West Ham is a great team. They signed Chicharito, absolutely great business. I love Chicharito. I was so when he left Man United. I still remember his backhead goal, and the goal where he crossed it in the Community Shield
and he smashed the ball in his own
face and he went in. I just love the guy. He's a great player. I feel like he'll do good things for West Ham this year. However, they have been unlucky. They've lost to last-minute penalties. They've hit the bar or the woodwork 4 times. That's tied the most in the whole of the league. That's about nearly once every game they hit the woodwork. And defensively they're a bit weak. But I feel like that's only because of all the pressure on Bilic. Once that pressure goes, I feel like they will have a strong season. I feel like they finish mid-table as usual, about the 13 mark. And they'll do well, I really do. Okay, so as we come to the end of the video, I will tell you what I think my final prediction will be. In 6th place, now as an Arsenal fan, I hate saying this, I really do. I just can't see us finishing above 6. The quality above us is just too strong. I feel like we have a better season than last year, but once again, we will not finish above 6th place. We just can't see it. I feel like we need a new manager. I'm not necessarily a Wenger out person. I feel like he's served the club very well. I want to put him upstairs, not out of the club completely. I want to put him upstairs, director of sports or something like that, and getting new ideas, get the best out of people, some new motivation. But yeah, as I said, I can't see Arsenal finish above 6th place. In 5th place, I'm going to put Liverpool. Even though they've got the best attack in the league, I personally think their defence is too inconsistent. They're going to have to literally outscore opposition to win games, and some games that's going to work, some games it's not. When you go to Stoke City away, it's going to be hard, and sometimes it's just not going to work. And I feel like 5th place is where Liverpool are going to finish. In 4th, it was really hard. I couldn't decide between Chelsea and Spurs. In the end, I went with Spurs, 4th place, simply because Chelsea, I feel like they've got the better manager. Pochettino, great manager, don't get me wrong, but Conte is an absolutely a great manager. I wish he was at Arsenal, I really do. He's got so much passion, he's got so much knowledge. Italian game, very defensive, so he knows how to defend. I feel like Spurs will come a little bit short, even though they've got great players with Eriksen and Kane and Ali. I feel like they come a little bit short and they will finish fourth. Not by much though. As I said, above them, I feel like Chelsea will come in third. I don't think they can get top two. I don't think they can win the league again. But I do feel like they have a strong season, especially if Hazard's fit throughout the season, and Fabregas, and Willian, Pedro. They've got so many big players that I feel like they will come through very strong. And in big clutch games, I feel like they will come out of a win, just because of Conte's experience. Conte and Conte, both absolutely great for Chelsea. Now, top two. In second place, it's gonna, as I said, it's gonna be one of the Manchester clubs. I am gonna put Manchester City. Now, I don't think there's gonna be much dividing between the two teams at all. A few points maximum, but I feel like City is just a slightly weaker team. When I watch City play, they seem very inconsistent. They seem strong in some games. Aguero can smash a hat-trick past Watford, and everyone looks absolutely great. But then against Bournemouth, they struggle to get a 2-1 victory out of it. You know, I just cannot see them. It's going to be very tight. Don't get me wrong. They might pick that first place, and Manchester United slip second. But I personally think United are a stronger team, and City will finish second. Now, as I said, I think Manchester United will come first. United looks so strong this season. Pogba, Martial, Rashford, Lukaku, Mkhitaryan, even in defence, Eric Bailly. Phil Jones looks alright this season. David De Gea, everyone just looks so solid and unified. And Mourinho, as I said, second year, Mourinho can do wonders. He won the league with Chelsea in his second year. I really think United will pick first place this season, and they will be Premier League winners. Alright guys, thanks for watching. If you liked it, please subscribe and like the video. If there's anything else you want to see me do, be that more opinion videos or more or real life football videos or anything else, I also love the NFL. I can do pretty detailed insights or opinions into the NFL this season. So if you want to see that, just let me know in the comments down below. Also, follow me in the links in the description for my Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. And thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all later.